lion's share. It's the lion's share. It's the lion's share. It's the lion's share.
Welcome back. Welcome into the Lions Share post NFL draft for 2026. The Lions entered the series of days, I should say, with 9 picks. They end up trading a couple of those. They finish out with 7 picks, and we're here to touch on all of those, including the undrafted free agents that continue to populate each and every hour since the draft over the course of the last couple days. And unfortunately, guys, we opened the show last time, joined as always by the experts here. We mentioned, did we think that Pittsburgh was going to have the oomph to pass Detroit? And I'm afraid to announce Detroit is no longer home of the record-breaking crowd for an NFL draft. So pouring out for that.
That's Goodell's fault. He baited him into it. I don't think they would have had it without him. The vibes were high in Detroit. We can confirm from boots on the ground.
I will say, did look like a good time in Pittsburgh there, though.
Fighting the rain on day 3. I will give them some credit there. A little gritty performance to get out there and get another 150,000 or whatever it was on the last day to crack 800,000, I think. Insane numbers. I think Detroit was 775 or 750. And just imagine the economic impact that must have. So, boys, like we like to do all the time, Tommy's going to give you a fill in the blank here and goes back to Hard Knocks. The 2026 NFL draft for the Detroit Lions was what? What was this draft for the Lions?
Exactly what they needed.
Papa B?
Old school meat and potatoes.
Oh, I like that.
I'll give you guys both A's. We're going to talk some grades later, but I'll give you guys both A's for that. And I'll echo. Can't top anything that I just heard there, but maybe the most boring draft, but in the best way. Just very, very straightforward, especially at the top end of the draft, the first couple rounds, back end of the draft. We'll touch on those picks in a bit, but that's where I'm kind of a little hesitant to give this too high of a grade. But I think they addressed things that needed to be addressed, and that was the most important thing we were looking for in this draft ahead of it. So, as always, folks, watch us on YouTube. You've got a video option on there. Spotify video also has video. And Apple coming soon, says Tommy. So subscribe, like, comment, rate 5 stars. All of that support as a shareholder is the best thing for us. So, Mitch, you want to expand a little bit? You've got some notes here on what your story from the draft is as far as a comprehensive look over these 7 rounds.
This is probably the first time where it felt like there weren't a lot of questions on what's Brad gonna do. They had clear needs, and I think I to build on what I said in the notes, they spent their premium draft capital on what they needed to spend it on. Number 1, offensive tackle. Seems like almost a foregone conclusion at this point that Blake Miller is going to be on the right, Sewell's going to be on the left. I think that's perfectly fine. The Sewell can make that adjustment. It's not like he's never done it before. And they got a guy that I'm already seeing a lot of reached, and Freeling was available, this, that. We talked about this in the last one. Brad and Dan know who they want. They know who they want. It's been like this every single year since Brad has gotten here. He evaluates players obviously a little bit differently than other scouts, other GMs. I don't really care about the talking heads, because if the talking heads on media were better at their jobs, they would probably be GMs, and they're not. So shout out. Mel Kiper was supposed to retire like years and years ago when Jimmy Clausen didn't work out. People forget, and he's still around. So I think they got a guy in Blake Miller that's proven. Was it 54 starts in college, I think? Talk about grit. They talked about the personality, and he's a day one starter. They picked a high floor guy. I think maybe the argument is Freeling's ceiling would have been higher, but I think Miller's going to come in, make an impact day one, and be ready to go. Big dude, had some athleticism come out during the combine, so I'm happy there. And then Derrick Moore, we talked about him. I don't know that they had to trade up to get him, but again, Brad and Dan wanted Derrick Moore. I saw a couple things. I can't remember where I read it on, but they had Derrick Moore rated as, I think, the top edge or a top 3 edge in the draft. So they went up and got him. And they got some filler pieces in the back end of the draft that, Ben, I'll let you touch on, but this was, like Andrew said, meat and potatoes. I loved the first 2 picks. I love finally addressing edge. Everybody's been asking for it for 2 years now, if not longer than that. And now they're young. They're young on that defensive front. That's what I think a lot of people, you got a lot of young guys on the defensive front and on the defense just in general. So I'm happy with it. I think the first 2 picks were really, really good. We all were expecting Freeling. Ben, I think you were probably jumping up and down like they got him. You kept trying to spoil the draft for me and Andrew, which I thought was a little rude, but that's okay. I'm good with Blake Miller. I think he seems like a good personality grit fit for the Lions.
Ooh, just for the grit fit, I think you got to hit him with
High-level analysis.
the grit fit. That needs to be trademarked, because that is going to be a phrase going forward. And if it gets out in the circles too much, that may be a new T-shirt for Dan. There's a lot to unpack with what you just said. First off, Jimmy Clausen, not a name that I thought I was going to hear today on this podcast, but if you had that on your bingo card, congratulations, Jimmy Clausen. What do you guys, Andrew, I'll let you go too, and expand on some of the things that he said, but do you guys think Blake Miller was who they had circled number 1 coming into the draft, or do you think that's kind of where it fell?
I think I asked you guys this question, and I don't know if he was their number 1. I think he was definitely like the most proven guy. Mitchell said it, 54 starts, and I think that's the number, and that's insane. I even heard the snap count, and that was an also insane snap count number. So it could be. I think I judged him probably a little too harshly on that combine picture when you Google him.
That doesn't sound
like me. Exactly, you're right. Shocking, but I bet you I did. I liked the long hair on him. I don't know if you guys listened to his interview when he got to Detroit too. He said he wanted a little change up, went in, wanted it a little shorter, came out way shorter than what he was expecting it to be. So
We've all been there.
He's just rolling with it. He's just kind of one of the guys, honestly. And listening to his interviews, seems really calm, composed, knows what's going on. Seems like he's just like ready for the NFL. Love that. So do I think he was number 1 on their boards? Maybe not. I would say probably that Maui Goa would probably be number 1 on their boards. And if he was there, they would get him. I don't think that's a fault to anybody there. And I think that's probably why they stayed put and didn't move up, right? Blake Miller was there. They didn't see anybody going after him, and that was kind of the one that they had circled. So they're happy with it. I think we're all happy with it. And to touch on the second pick, I mean, you heard Brad talking to the media on the edge pick. Can you finally get off my ass about it? Or something like that, which is just really funny. And I mean, Moore doesn't really have to do anything other than be himself at this point.
No, he's got the support on the other side, so he's just got to be solid on his end and let the things come to me. DJ Wanham, free agent, I'll add that name too. Probably going to get a lot of action across that other side from Aiden, and then as the season goes on, we may see more of Moore. No pun intended there. Then the phrases are building themselves today. And Jordan Schultz was the one leaking all the picks on Twitter, so he was like 5 minutes ahead of the TV, and so it was too far.
Feels like there's going to be some repercussions for that, right? Like the NFL has to hate that between Jordan and Glazier. Like that feels like there's some stuff coming down there. That's not good.
Well, years ago, this was an issue online, and the journos, the big J's, basically said, we will let this, we will let the NFL and the media have their time and not spoil any of these picks. And so Schefter, all of those guys weren't doing it, but Jordan Schultz, I guess, not a part of the big network, so wanted to get a little action for himself there, got all the picks out ahead of time.
Must not be an MVP voter.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he quite got, and he didn't do himself any favors to become one. I don't think.
He might get Diana's vote.
You knew Andrew was going to find a way. Papa B was going to find a way, much to Mitch's chagrin there. So yeah, he was way ahead of him on those picks though, and so it was hard not to see Twitter, and the Lions beat writers were also tweeting about it. So Blake Miller, yeah, it's Miller time in Detroit, and we love that. I gave this one a B plus, a solid B plus. 54 straight starts, which is, I think the straight part of that is important because all of those in a row, 54 starts is one thing, but 54 straight. And Andrew, you mentioned the snap count. It's over 3,700 straight snaps. And even deeper than that, he's only missed 2 practices in his entire career. So it's so much deeper than the 54 starts is already an incredible feat. But to break it down even further, about that many snaps consecutively and to only miss 2 practices. I mean, Taylor Decker wasn't even practicing most of the last 2 years of his season or his career here in Detroit. There wasn't a Wednesday practice that Taylor Decker liked.
So there you go, Ben. That's what they basically are swapping. And I think I don't want to just say safe pick. And I know I've said high floor already, but you're swapping Taylor Decker for an Iron Man. And I think Taylor Decker was that at the beginning of his career, but not towards the end.
Correct. Yeah. In the comparison everybody was making about Blake Miller was Taylor Decker.
Well, question for you, because you're saying you're swapping Taylor Decker for Blake Miller. I mean, you're swapping Taylor Decker for Penei Sewell.
It's true.
But
really
availability wise,
Sewell,
right?
yeah.
Like I mean, Decker for Sewell is obviously significant. But and you know what I like about this? Obviously, Clemson has had not their best last couple seasons, but 54 starts. The dude has seen plenty of NFL talent at right tackle. It's not like he's playing nobodies out there at Clemson. So I like that too. And now he gets to learn from not just Sewell, but also Hutch.
Yeah,
And
going
Tucker
across from him
Reed.
at practice is huge for his reps.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think it's funny that you mentioned it, Mitch, about Freeling being the higher upside. Like you might get a 9 out of 10 out of Freeling, but you also might get a 4 or 5 and some question marks there. I think you're pretty consistently like an 8 for Blake Miller. Is he going to be all pro? Maybe not. Is he going to be a consistent Pro Bowler? Maybe not, but I think he's going to be solid enough. And similar to like what you said, Andrew, about Derrick Moore across from Hutch, I think the same can be said about Blake Miller here. He doesn't need to be Penei Sewell there on the other side. We just need him to be better and available. Availability is your best ability, as Mitch said.
Speaking of, and it seems like a foregone conclusion since Dan said it and you guys are saying it here now too. Is it the foregone that Penei moves to the left side, or do you think they let him work it out in training camp and then they say, okay, you seem a little more natural here? Because he did say that he played left in high school, so it's not like it's,
He played left in college.
Yeah, in college. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. And then he
I'm
switched?
Penei played left at Oregon.
Yeah, he played left at Oregon. Then they put him on the right because they had Decker.
Sorry, I was talking about Blake. So he
Blake played
flip-flopped high school to college.
Okay. So Blake's done both.
So it is the foregone conclusion that they are going to swap him then at this point? You don't think any work?
It's not out of the question, I don't think, but I think Dan's words probably hold heavy. I would entertain the reps in training camp to see what it shakes out, but I feel like it's kind of a foregone conclusion, like you said.
I think it's done, which I'm totally cool with. I think Sewell's going to be just fine. It's still a natural position for him, and you gotta have I think the way it's set up in my mind, and this is very single dynamic of me. You've got your pass blocking anchor on your left side, which is where they need to be, and you've got your run paver on your right, because Blake Miller's specialty is run blocking. So I think that's kind of the way they have that shaking out right now, and I'm cool with that. Again, I think Sewell makes that adjustment fairly easily.
If
Cool
that's
Sewell.
the case,
Another
do you
name
think
for
they
us.
keep the guards where they're at then? Ratledge
Yeah, I
on the
think you
right.
keep you keep Ratledge on the right. So then you got someone who's not a rookie, but with Blake Miller. I don't even know. Can you call Blake Miller's a rookie? But good Lord, 54 starts in college. That's ridiculous.
That's
A ton of
crazy.
work under his belt. A ton.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that combo of Ratledge and Blake Miller on the right. And then
It
again,
would
you've
have.
got Sewell paired with a little bit of a question mark on left guard.
Last thing that I'll say about Monroe and Freeland, because you guys are probably sick of me talking about it, but that was the appeal to me, was to have two dogs, two Georgia dogs right next to each other, Ratledge and Freeling on the right side.
Sure. Was there a wrong answer in the draft though? I think if they just didn't draft a tackle, that was the
That
wrong
would
answer.
been that which Ben started teasing it out, and we had me and Andrew on skates thinking they drafted a tight end, and just in absolute panic mode in the round 1 pick. But thank goodness
That's on me.
thank goodness that wasn't the case. And I think the other thing about Miller is he's a tackle. They already have a guy who he played everywhere in college. Like we have that on the roster. So we have that tool in the belt, so to speak. And we don't need Georgia dogs. What does seem to be happening is the Lions are all in on Wolverine defense, which I think is sweet.
Absolutely. It is. Derrick Moore, I mean, Mitch, you manifested this.
I thought maybe he wasn't there at 50, so that maybe that's why they thought maybe the Ravens were going to grab him.
That's the note that I was going to mention, is that,
Yeah.
the connection with Jesse Minter, of course, and also Derrick Moore is from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Listen, they're going to get their guys. That's what they're going to do. Brad knows who he wants. They were more hyped up about Derrick Moore. We texted about this a little bit. They were more hyped up about Derrick Moore than Blake Miller. Not to say, at least on camera. I'm sure they love Blake. I love the video of Blake. If you guys haven't watched it yet, his first kind of walk around the facilities shook, I think, every single person's hand, shaking everybody's hand. I love that. That feels like it's Detroit through and through. And you heard Brad and Dan talk about the personality fit. But yeah, they were super pumped about Derrick Moore, and then you go right back into the well with Rolder at linebacker, which is what they need. They needed a will linebacker to fill Anzalone, and I think right there I kind of breathed a sigh of relief. Like, all right, they got the 3 positions that it feels like were the biggest needs.
And Andrew, you had mentioned that the possibility of moving up for Maui Noah, because he kind of fell a little bit further than I think some teams thought, and so I wondered if do you think that played into it a little bit, about not just kind of holding on to that second round, third round capital so that they could eventually make this move to move up if they had to for Derrick Moore?
Yeah, I think I think it was kind of that they had options, right? There was that run on tackles that got a little, I bet you they were knee knocking a little bit in there. But to Mitchell's point, you saw how calm they were in the draft room or in the war room when they got Miller. So it seemed like they were pretty calm there. Didn't want to waste any extra picks. And in the trades that they did make, it's such an easy option to, if presumably Baltimore was going to take more there. That's such an easy get rid of the 4th rounder, was it?
Yeah, because they didn't have a 3rd rounder.
Right. So send the 4th and flip-flop seconds, easy one. And they did that a couple times throughout the night. I thought as a fan, you can't be upset with any of the moves they made.
When you guys both kind of said it, that the front office was more hype about the Derrick Moore pick a little bit, at least emotionally, visibly. So were you guys more excited about Derrick Moore at 44 there, or Blake Miller at 17?
I think
Personally,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say glad to get a tackle. I think we've said it 5 times now. You can't make a mistake. I think the passion on that one is you made the move and then got the guy that you moved up for. You just invested quite a bit. You did a lot of work to get him. So that's probably where the passion comes from on that. But at the same time, also relief that you drafted an edge early.
Yeah, I think Andrew nailed it. I think I'm just excited that they did what they needed to do. Brad loves thinking, or acting out. Everyone thinks I need an edge. How about a cornerback? We didn't have that. So And I don't think it was just to appease it. I was like, all right, we've got these gaps. We got a breakout season from a 30-year-old pass rusher last year. It's time to get young up front, give Hutch some help. And then, yeah, you had to draft a tackle. They were way too reliant on going from a top 2 offensive line unit down to, all right, well, it's scraps now, and we're just gonna have to figure this out. And it just didn't work. So it feels like you doubled down. When you brought in Petzing, who's a run first guy, we're gonna see a lot of 2 tight end sets probably, and just run first with Gibbs, which you should, because after this year or maybe halfway through this year, you're probably backing up the Brinks truck for Gibbs, and then you go get the guy that you want in the first round. So I'm just happy that, not judging on the excitement, just they went and did what they needed to do.
Papa B.
Is Rolder also? Is he a captain? I see that Moore wears the C. Is Rolder the other captain on that team?
I don't know.
I don't believe
he
so.
transferred because he was at Illinois, I believe. So I don't know
Didn't they
off the top of my
say
head.
he was on the championship team?
Wasn't he at? We need the college football expert.
I did ask him about this guy. He was surprised they went and got him at where they did.
He thought he would go later.
Yeah. Said he could be a liability in coverage.
Oh, that's what they need him for.
And
Well, on the flip side of that,
I'm sorry,
the
he's
guy-
from Illinois. He's from Illinois. He wasn't at Illinois. I'm sorry.
okay.
so last thing that I'll say about Blake Miller, because it was in one of the videos that I sent you, Andrew, on Instagram. He said one of his favorite feelings is seeing the running back, wide receiver score and knowing that your quarterback is protected. I just love that from him. He said, what's more exciting than knowing that you did your job? And just a perfect quote. And this is from him at Clemson. This isn't like a draft interview. This is, a year or two ago. So he's had that durable team first mentality. And that's what I'm most excited for. Now shifting back to Jimmy, I gave this one a B. Thought this was okay. A little early maybe, but like Mitch said, linebacker specifically, this will roll, and he's athletic as hell. I mean, he is just another guy that, we haven't talked about the RAS score much, about Blake Miller was highly rated on that. I don't know about as much as Derrick Moore on that, but I know Jimmy was highly rated on that. Just incredibly athletic. It jumps off the scale. It really does. And this guy doesn't miss tackles. He's in the top 10, top 5, I think, in the entire college football landscape for missed tackles. So I love it for that, because
boys is what we love.
That's what we love.
Stand missed tackles. Can't stand it.
And it's been a problem with this defense, especially under Aaron Glenn. It seemed like it was a little bit more of a glaring thing.
Yeah.
Not so much with Shep, but
not a lot of people like the Jets' first number 2 pick. They're getting a little heat for that.
I think rightfully so, based on who was available there. But I think the Jets overall, they had a ton of picks. They've gotten capital from all these moves they've done. I think the Jets did all right. I think the other team, the Giants, I think, Andrew, you may have mentioned them in the group chat about the Giants being a really strong draft with Harbaugh there, his first draft there. It's incredible work.
Wow. Do you have their full draft? I don't have it pulled up. Their first 3 picks though was insane. Was that really loud, Mitchell?
Did you move the microphone inside your throat?
No. I have not swallowed it in the same spot.
Ooh. So yeah, I don't know. Riverside does this sometimes. I don't know if it ever happens to mine, but specifically with Mr. In Studio there in the booth. I don't know why. It doesn't come out in the recording, so everybody and all the shareholders are kind of like, the hell are these guys talking about? But so New York G-Men, the Giants, we've got Arvil Reese, of course, right off the bat at number 5. Maui Noah, they come back with their pick from the trade with the Bengals. Number 10 there, Francis Maui Noah. Colton Hood, cornerback from Tennessee, who was highly rated. Malachi Fields, wide receiver from Notre Dame. Bobby Jameson Travis from Auburn, big D tackle there in the middle. And J.C. Davis, Illinois, offensive tackle, another tackle there. So they get 2 tackles. And then Jack Kelly from BYU to round things out at linebacker in the 6th.
I mean, talk about a meat and potatoes draft that is.
Similar,
Like,
yeah. So I feel like, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like a lot of teams went meat and potatoes with this draft, and maybe it's just the explosive talent at especially like the quarterback position. There wasn't a lot of quarterback buzz in this draft. Everybody's talking about next year being a huge draft for some of the skill positions, so maybe that's why it's got that meat and potato feels. But I agree. I feel like across the board there were a lot of teams that just kind of did the stick and pick and drafted needs and not so emotionally driven on somebody that, you know, really wowed them, you know, based off an interview and in a reach situation. So I was proud of the Lions for that too, because, you know, we've mentioned that's been an issue sometimes.
That next pick, wow.
Yeah, this is probably the one. Well, Keith Abney, that pick I feel good about. I'm talking about the Kendrick Law one. That one's the one I've got the biggest gripe with.
Yeah, you go Keith Abney, Ben, because you called this out, and they're getting a lot of love for this one. So I was going to ask you to kind of touch on this and take a little pause on this one.
You are the Reddit fan. Have you seen the ASU subreddit?
I retired from Reddit.
Oh, buddy, they're losing their mind how good this guy is.
There's an Instagram account called Keith Abney Glazer, I think is his name, and all he does, well, his or her, their name, that runs this account since his time at ASU, just posting daily about this Keith guy and how great he is as a player. So that's not the reason why I'm excited about him from this Glazer account, but I think value-wise, this one's by far their best value, the opposite of a reach. They got somebody that they could have been a first-round talent based on some evaluations. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more like second, third round. But to get him in the fourth round, regardless, is just an incredible, a credible value. Physical and gritty to the core, this guy is. This one gets an A in my book. He's a true competitor through and through, and that's kind of what Brad and Dan are all about. So I think he's going to be a great fit in that room. Does have some issues with penalties, though. He was very highly ranked and not in a good way in penalties. So that does concern me about a possible TA 2.0 here.
So so let me actually go on the TA defense, which doesn't happen often on this podcast. Before he got hurt, never really heard a ton from him last year in terms of penalties. So that seems to have been cleaned up.
Yeah, and this guy's similarly very physical at the point of attack, doesn't let guys get past him. You don't see a lot of clips in his highlights. You don't see him chasing after guys, breaking things up that way. He is always keep man in front type of guy, physical at the point of attack, and a PBU master. He is involved at the ball coming in. He is. I saw one quote that said he plays like the ball's going to him, not the wide receiver. So I like this guy a lot. I think, you know, negative wise penalties could be an issue here in the NFL and how physical he's playing. Really solid at nickel. That may be where he's playing, but he may get some looks outside too. So curious to see where he kind of falls in this cornerback room for the Lions and how much involvement he has. And most importantly, 4-time speed skating champion. Probably my favorite thing about him.
So awesome.
Yeah, I saw a couple interviews with him at his time at ASU. There's just so much content about these guys nowadays. You can find so much out about them. And he's knowledgeable about speed skating. He's talking about Olympians that he looked up to and who he still keeps track. He, as I understand it, he's still involved in speed skating, and he's still he's obviously an avid fan of it because he was name dropping current Olympians for the Team USA. So it's cool. Pretty cool.
Feel like Detroit's not a bad place to be.
Yeah, it kind of fits the climate, I guess, right?
Yep. Welcome home.
So yeah, I mean, this was one of my favorite picks, Keith Abney. I think he's going to be a really, really solid option for them going forward, and an incredible value to get him in the fourth round. If we want to talk about anything else about Keith Abney, please go ahead. But I'd like to go to Kendrick Law next.
Yeah, you get to him. Everything I saw from ASU is that he may have been low on the pass breakups because his last season they just didn't throw to him, basically.
Yeah, you don't see film from him, and that's the best thing about a cornerback is when you don't see film from them, that means they're doing their job.
Yes. So that's it. We can move on.
Yeah, Ben, keep going.
Kendrick Law. This is where I feel like Brad and Dan had a really not chalk draft, but really uncharacteristic not drafting these prospects like they've done in the past. And this is a prospect here with Kendrick Law.
Projects, I think is what you're looking for. They're all prospects.
This is
project is what
projects
is what. Where I think that's what you said in the chat too. Is like they love this. They are the I don't even know the single woman who can't find the one because she loves to just get the projects that she can fix.
Yep, I could fix him. And they love the guys that have been injured in their last season, maybe dropped their draft stock. So they think, this Kendrick Law guy, we're going to get him in the fourth round, fourth or fifth round, I can't remember, but 168th overall. So I believe that's the fourth round, maybe fifth. Anyway, somebody that they think is a talent that, if he was healthy, maybe it would have been somebody ranked higher. So, but twofold on this pick, the fact that they traded up for him was curious to me, and giving up another pick at a position where they have a lot of talent in that wide receiver room. And they've done this over the years where they've drafted a ton. I mean, Lovett, Meeks. I mean, there's so many guys out there that they've done that seem carbon copies of this. I think this guy's probably a little more talented than those two. I'm just not a fan of this move to trade up to do it. And, prove me wrong, Kendrick Law, but I think there were greater needs than a wide receiver, especially to trade up to here.
I'm going to be honest with you. In Brad, we trust, and if the guy wants himself a project picked here and there, he can have it. Trading up is tough, but, what else? Let him have it.
Would have liked to use that other pick, maybe. But I'll give it a C- with room to grow for Kendrick Law here. And Andrew, I mean, if you want to touch on what you thought about him too, as far as is he going to play that?
I mean, he's the clear Leaf replacement. Like that's all they want him for. So that's the only thing that he's going to be. That's the only thing
special teams and gadget plays in the offense, fill in as needed at a deeper wide receiver level, compete with old Tom Kennedy out there. Maybe he's a Tom Kennedy and Leaf replacement combo here.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a strange one. Probably their weirdest pick. That and the next one are the two weirdest ones.
Skylar Gilhauer, D-tackle from Texas Tech, number 205 overall.
What are we doing?
This one scratched my head a little less than Kendrick Law. I give it a C+, but another project here for sure. It's somebody that was, I believe he was injured, or maybe that's Tyra West. All of these guys have some nicks on them as you go further down in the draft. I think this guy's a boomer bust type. This could be somebody that we're talking about playing meaningful minutes and making meaningful impact, or practice squad, or we go, remember this guy, SGH, Skylar Gill Howard, remember that guy? What's he doing?
We won't even get there.
We do that every year though. Like we get to these late round guys, and feels very rare that, not just in the NFL in general, but Brad doesn't have the best success in late picks. I think rounds 4 and up, Brad is best in class, I guess, in the NFL. But in the later rounds, correct me if I'm wrong, but who do we have that's like, oh, this was an absolute steal?
Rodrigo was pretty solid.
Was that fourth round?
4.
Was he 4? I thought he was.
I think so. That's what I mean. Like these 7, 6, 5. Brad does his best work in the early rounds. He's gonna go get the guys that he wants to get. Gibbs, he was getting shredded for Gibbs, and now he's top 2 running back in the NFL at worst. So I think, again, Brad, when it comes to evaluating the top talent and the people you think are going to be contributors to your team, and maybe that's why he does the projects. Maybe it's just like, all right, how often does a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder hit? Maybe if we get these guys with extreme upside but extremely low floors, we hit on one of them over the course of 3-4 years, and we're in a good spot.
Well, I feel like that's James Houston, right?
Oh, poopy pants.
Come on.
It's funny because that's what came to my mind too. Not the poopy pants, but James Houston. Here's a 6th rounder.
Well, right, and that was probably the most notable one, and he had a hot few games, and then he just fizzled out, and he couldn't do anything but pass rush, and even then, it's like, dude, can you just stay on your 2 feet? You don't have to go on the ground.
His leg in half, and he struggled to return from injury.
I will say also Rodrigo was a 6th round pick.
Was he really? Wow. Okay.
They got James Houston and Rodrigo in that same round, same draft, 2022, 6th round, both of those guys.
Okay, in my face.
That was one of their incredible drafts. Hutch number 1, well, not number 1, but 2 overall, and then traded back in for JMO, Josh Paschal, Kirby Joe, James Mitchell, meaningful, and then Rodrigo, Houston, and Chase Lucas. Remember Hard Knocks? Chase Lucas. But you're right. They haven't had a 7th or 6th rounder really since then. Antoine Green didn't pan out. Christian Mahogany has I guess panned out, 6th round pick. He's made his way into meaningful position here in the offensive line. Mekhi Wingo, that one, not so much. Dominique,
pretty sure he's donezo, but yeah.
I guess this is where it kind of feels like you wonder, is this guy Skylar Gill-Howard going to fall into that category, or are we going to talk about him more like James Houston or some other defensive lineman that actually does contribute to this team and in a consistent way?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Wingo is donezo after this draft.
Yeah, he feels like a smaller Mekhi Wingo too.
Yeah.
It's fun to look back at some of these. I think the dog
Who
sees
said
a
that?
squirrel. I tell you what, he nearly got a squirrel yesterday. He's not much of a hunter, but he nearly got one yesterday.
It sounded like he still isn't much of a hunter.
Who said that?
Who? Well, let's close things out with Tyre West then, who was holding pick number 222.
Who was he holding?
From Tennessee. Huh?
The listeners will understand that, I think.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch it
What
on
else
my
is
end.
new?
This is
First
true.
thoughts, he's a big boy.
Yeah. NFL Network listed him as a D tackle. Other people listed him as an edge. So what's the deal with this guy, Tyre West? What is he?
I like that. To me, that automatically means he's a big old booty that can get after the quarterback.
You love the big booties.
I thought you didn't like wide loads.
I do love big booties. In the NFL, you get a big ass, you're doing some serious damage, especially up front. You ever notice the worst? Shout out to wide body Cologne, because it was wide, but he turned sideways. Wow. That's what
If you had a
happened.
bingo card. If you had wide body cologne on your big bingo card, scratch it off.
I mean, am I wrong? You get these guys. Who was he was the GM for the Raiders for like 5 seconds, and he was an analyst before that. I think it's something with an M. I can't. Who am I thinking of?
You mean
He always had the
Michael
best
Mayock?
thing. Yes. Oh, Mayock's my favorite because he always has like oily hips, and he's a thumper. He's this. He's that. Dude, these guys with big butts. It's just as a thing. I'm right. I'm right in this. Big butt equals NFL success.
Fair enough. I can't argue with that.
Hey, man, I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah, I don't know what you do with him, though. I don't know if he stays inside. I want to say he'll probably slide inside, especially with the signing of DJ Wanham and losing Roy Lopez. Whoa.
Pause. It was hard to see Roy Lopez announcing the pick for the Cardinals. So it's like, damn, I miss Roy.
That's why you said that? I must have missed that. I was like,
He did it live from Mexico City too. He had a group of about like 100
awesome.
people. 100 people behind him in the center of Mexico City, and he just was going nuts on the microphone. Nuts.
fresh new contract, man.
Oh, he was so happy to be back in Arizona. So happy. He was bleeding Cardinal red, and good for him, but it is hard to see him go. Yeah. So yeah, Tyre West. What was he? Hip stiffness limits his change of direction fluidity. So the oily hips, maybe not with this guy. I am quite literally reading things for the first time. Because was he the guy that would hurt the last half of his career? Or was that SGH?
That's the stuff you're supposed to know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so I like this. Ben, do you want to get into the undrafted free agents?
I sure do. What else was I gonna say? Was there anything? I gotta get back to the Google Doc here. Yes, and undrafted free agents. They've got several of them, and I wanted to talk to Papa B about it because he was kind of pounding the table in our group chat to get that. Speaking of big booties, big body, big blocking tight end, he was searching for one in all draft, and they never went tight end, but they did in the undrafted. They got one from Tennessee, Miles Kitselman, who seems like a big body that may be able to play that role for him. I'll just go through all these. And then...
Since we lost Andrew, he went off to, I think he took a potty break. You got in here, quick announcement, no rookie minicamp. We'll circle back to the tight ends, but no rookie minicamp.
Yeah, what do you think about that? They're really changing the way they do things in the offseason, and I think I'm on board with it.
I'm game. Something's got to change. You got plenty of time once warmer weather hits to really get. And these guys they're already working out. These guys are already spending time with each other, so I'm fine with it, honestly.
Welcome back.
Okay, Andrew, you left, so we skipped ahead to no rookie minicamp, but Ben was saying they got your blocking tight end and undrafted free agency, but that's a poo on this. Do we think it makes a difference because they went out and got Conklin? So that feels like the veteran blocking presence that they need in the tight end room.
It does, until you watch the video that Ben sent me, I believe, on Instagram of kind of, Brad Holmes' draft strategy. Jeez, oh, Pete's. Almost called him Brad Campbell there.
I think we should do that for the draft. I like that.
It plays.
But their strategy was to sign a veteran guy in free agency and then draft a young one behind him, which they did with DJ Wanham and then Moore, and then they did with Barome, and then getting Blake Miller there. So really, it doesn't really, it follows that guideline if that's what they're all about. Yeah. Getting Conklin and then getting a young guy behind him.
Can never have enough tight ends.
To Dan, no.
Draft. Oh man, I'm having the tongue twisters now. Day 3 draft value and could find work as a TE3, tight end 3 or 4. Number 1 strength, Andy. You ready for this one? Number 1 strength. Doesn't shy away from run blocking duties.
Beauty.
That reminds me of that Laporta video that came out. Like, do you like blocking? And you kind of laughed and goes, yeah, physically dominating someone. I was like, oh, this guy's awesome.
Goosebumps from those. Yeah, that's right. He did say that in his little interview he did before the draft with them.
How big is the guy?
See, that's the thing. He's 6'5". He's huge. But 250. So he's not like a 285 kind of guy that maybe you were looking for, but physically big. Yeah.
That's okay. That's big.
Athletics score on the low end, 59 out of 100. So not a great score there, but I mean, look, we're talking about things that, these are draft grades and scores that are from Next Gen Stats. All that really matters is the X's and the O's and the in between the lines. So, he seems like a good value, and obviously an undrafted free agent is a brilliant move. You get this guy who may have been a 6th or 7th rounder, and you get him as an undrafted free agent. It makes a lot of sense.
Run us through the list, and I don't have any. I don't have a bunch of thoughts on the undrafted free agents really.
Either do I. Just kind of positionally, I think that's where we break it down.
100%.
So number 1 on the list here, Rutgers edge. They got another edge, Eric O'Neal. And then Ketzelman at the tight end position, and then a DB. Boy, this name may elude me here. Amarius, Aaron, Amarius Brown, double A at the front there. He's a DB from UNLV. This is a guy I've seen some chatter about, so I think people are excited about him. Anthony Lucas is another name, edge from USC. This is a guy that I think could have been drafted. Here's a guy. So value-wise, undrafted free agent. I like that move. Anthony Lucas. Lions also signed a D lineman from Cal, Aiden Kiana, 6'3", 320, so big boy. Started out at Notre Dame and then ended his college career at Cal, and 101 tackles in the last 2 seasons. Morgan State linebacker Eric Hunter, so another linebacker there. Another cornerback here with Deshaun Rutger from UCF, and 2 more here. A guard, which I like, Melvin Presley. Always need more offensive linemen. QB Luke Altmaier. This might be the most intriguing one because it is the most prominent position of quarterback. And I didn't ever see a possibility of the Lions going quarterback in this draft in the 7 rounds. I'm not sure if you guys did, but they do get one here, and this one, out of all of them, gets the most interactions on Twitter with Luke Altmaier coming from Illinois, the quarterback there.
I mean, why not, right? It's an undrafted guy. Might as well add one to the room, give him a chance, see what it can pan out to be. I mean, he might not be anything, but he also could be something. Why not? Why not bring a guy into the room?
Yeah, good time to do so with Teddy Two Gloves as your standard backup. You've got a good insurance policy behind Goff, and now you bring in another guy that can compete and learn from both of those guys. And like you said, turn it into a potential backup role behind Goff if Teddy B retires again for like the 4th time. So touched on a couple linemen there, and of course Blake Miller coming into the starting lineup right away. Day 1 starter type of guy. How does this make you guys feel about the depth chart and the offensive line as a whole? We really talked a lot about this at the top when we talked about Blake Miller. Mitch is throwing up a heart shout out to the YouTube. Just thinking about year over year, how much better do you guys feel about the offensive line now with the depth that they have and the new faces here?
I think we go from a C+, B minus to B+ floor, A ceiling.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, you finally get some fresh faces in there. We've had him in there for a while. Taylor Decker was around since the last regime. Sewell was their first pick, and that's been 4 years now? 5? I believe it's 4. So he's been there for quite a while. It's time to finally refresh at the corner of the lineman, and just to get some new bodies in there. I mean, what was his name? Abena Easy from Hard Knock days? I mean, we thought he was going to be somebody as well, and it's like, you got to get some fresh faces in there. You got to have Frank Fraley work some guys through. So it's really nice that they spent some top tier draft capital on that room.
Was that a Hank Fraley or a Frank Fraley?
Yeah, I don't. Doesn't don't pick on him. Don't pick on him.
That's mumble speak.
Oh, I mean, Frank Ragnow, Frank Fraley, possibly a connection there. Brad, what'd you say, Brad Campbell earlier? So I like the combos that we have going on here. Yeah, so I mean, presumably on your left side, you've got Sewell, and then next to him, Mahogany, or maybe Ben Barch, this guy from the 49ers. Maybe he competes for that role. I don't know. I think at this time it's probably Mahogs. And then Cade in the middle, Cade Mays, with Nice behind him. In the backup role, Tate Ratledge, your obvious right guard, and then Blake Miller coming in at right tackle. So feel a lot better about that. And the depth behind these positions, too, is even more so greater. What do you guys think about Miles Frazier? We talked about him last year, LSU guy that was their draft pick last season, played literally every position at the offensive line. Do you guys think he ever gets a meaningful role on this offensive line?
I think for me, Frazier, who I was referencing earlier as the guy who's played every position, he becomes the new skipper. He's the guy you bring in to do your jumbo sets, a little bit of athleticism out on the edge. I think he can make an impact. I think if I'm a betting man, I think Frazier's on the 53 man and Manu is not.
Mm.
Hey, that's a great bet. I'm on your side of it.
About old Colby Sorsdahl.
I don't think he makes it either.
I'm with you.
I think he's got a better chance than Manu.
I would agree, but I don't think
marginally.
So here's my thing is that you drafted Frazier as a multi-tool guy. You drafted Blake Miller as your bona fide starter, and then you brought in veterans. If you're gonna have backups, you got Frazier who you can bump in at any position. You're gonna use your veterans for backups. Guys that have played, they can come in just like a backup quarterback. Like Teddy Bridgewater's back because he can come in and he's not gonna ruin the game for you. You bring in some veteran offensive linemen that aren't gonna ruin the game for you.
Sure, I think it's gonna matter. I think Sorsdale's coming off. He was coming off an injury last year and kind of like hasn't really come back to form or where he started at. So if he comes back in this season and he's looking better, I think that he would be the play over Frazier. Just I think they went higher capital on Sorsdale, and I think guard is your much more needed depth with Barome that you went and signed in the offseason this year. So guard is where you need a little more depth. I think you said they got Barch from the 49ers, but I think that's why Sorsdale, just because he's a natural guard over Frazier who floats.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that probably again, like my thinking on Frazier is the ability to stick him anywhere, and his overall size just becomes a road paver with Blake Miller.
Yeah, no, agree. I mean, once again, we have to see these guys actually play.
Yeah.
That would help.
True. I mean, they've really invested through the draft and through free agency to bolster up this offensive line, and it was so desperately needed. Larry Barham, I believe, like you mentioned. And then you've got Juice Scruggs also came in free agency. I mean, you just look at positionally, like left guard, you got Mahogany as a potential starter there, and then Barch behind him, and then Juice Scruggs behind him. All guys that could potentially be starters in this league.
Juice.
And so you just got so much depth, even all the way down to the third string there. So depth-wise, it's a huge difference.
I forgot about Juice. Where is he? Is he guard or center?
Guard. He played both. He's played both, though. I believe.
I take it back. Sorsdale doesn't make it.
Well, that's what I guess my point is. It's gotten a lot deeper, and so some of these fringe guys probably don't make it, but we'll see when they get down to the 53 man. Yep. We touched on it. No rookie mini camp this offseason. A lot of changes. No joint practices. No mini camps. A couple other things that they've changed in this offseason. So it's really all an effort to prevent injuries, of course.
Did they cancel it, or did they just push it back to the start of training camp?
I understood it as a cancellation, but I'm not sure. Because typically I think rookie minicamp was June, like first week of June. Or second week of June.
I thought it got pushed back basically to where they come in and there's almost no gap time between that and training camp.
Lions are canceling their rookie minicamp. They will not hold a minicamp as part of their rookie development program this season, one of several tweaks to the team's offseason schedule that were said to implement after last year's 9-8 disappointing season.
So
typically the Lions have held rookie minicamp. I keep wanting to say meaning camp for some reason, 2 weeks after the draft. I was thinking it was in June, but I think that's OTAs that are in June.
That's what I'm saying. They got all summer. They don't need rookie. Let the guys get acquainted in the weight room. They got all summer to get acquainted, to get to know each other and start to learn some of this stuff. Couple things I want to talk about. Obviously, Ty Simpson to the Rams. My maybe personal favorite. I try not to be a hater, but Diego Pavia.
Oh,
sucks, dude. The guy. Did you guys see his Instagram story?
No. Tell us.
F the NFL. I write my own path. Because you didn't
Okay,
get
go to the UFL.
drafted?
Go to the
Because you're the
UFL.
cockiest person that's in this draft. And you know what? Another thing who I'm going to throw back in his face. Basically trashed on agents and said, I'm not paying someone 5 to 10%. Ain't nobody taking my money. Well, you don't have any money now.
Oh no.
I bet if he has an agent, he gets drafted at the very least.
Yeah, late round, yeah.
There is a difference between confident and cocky, and even in the NFL, most GMs would probably rather have cocky, but you got to be able to back it up. And unless someone wants to see me out there at 5'9" be a quarterback, which I probably don't want to see, the Kyler Murray experiment is kind of maybe on its way out the door. And I think Kyler Murray's a lot more athletic than Diego. I don't know, man. Maybe a little attitude adjustment.
And if you can't get drafted as a quarterback in this draft, that's not good, because this was a thin draft at quarterback.
Yeah.
So what's he going to do? Go like work at the local Chevy dealer as a sales guy, or what's his path? I mean, is he going to go to the UFL?
I don't know. He's still writing it.
That's right. The rest is unwritten.
Yeah. Shout out Natasha.
Yep. Diego Pavia. Yeah, not a big fan of him, but I do like Ty Simpson. Maybe not so early, but and you know, Mitch, if we can circle back to our discussions offline that were on a potential bet here. I did forget that Dan Orlovsky was so far in Ty Simpson's camp, and so now that makes me feel not great that Dan O is so high on this guy.
So my only gripe with this is you were pretty clearly in free agency going all in again, and there's talks of extending Stafford. I don't think Stafford plays more than 2 years. There's something to be said for getting your quarterback of the future. I don't get it. The free agency moves in this draft to me don't make a lot of sense. Not that they had a ton of roster positions that they needed to address, but at 13, you definitely could have gotten a contributor on either side of the ball. Maybe not weapons wise, they're perfectly fine as long as Puka's checked out of rehab at that point. But get another offensive lineman, get another defensive guy. That's the only reason it doesn't make sense to me, especially because next year's quarterback draft or quarterback class is supposed to be stacked.
Yeah, that's all valid points. I think the allure is obvious, of course, behind Stafford. You could learn from no one better than him. But you're right. If they don't go out and win a Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of questions on Les Snead and Sean McVay as far as, hey, were you one player away and could you have gotten him at 13 instead of somebody for the future?
Right, and not just that, they were getting calls for the 13th pick. You probably could have gotten Ty Simpson anywhere in the first, maybe not anywhere in the second, but that's probably the part that's going to sting a little bit. Move back 10 spots, get him anyway, and get another mid-round pick. I don't know. It's just a little weird.
Definitely weird. Definitely a reach. I mean, even if Ty Simpson works out and is a great successor of Stafford, still a reach even in that book. But yeah, I think there was some chatter about the Steelers. I don't remember where the Steelers pick was in the 20s. I know that about them taking a quarterback, obviously with Aaron Rodgers at the helm currently, at least this second. So there was some talk about him them potentially taking Ty Simpson there. But I like Ty Simpson. I think he's going to pan out. And he's in a perfect system to do it in with the Rams and Stafford and McVay. That triangle is going to be great for him. And I think the Rams are, NFC Championship yet again this season. And Seahawks too. But anybody else for you guys on the draft that stood out? Team-wise, as far as like who got better, who had any questionable moves, who got worse?
Chargers probably have the best offensive line, though.
Incredible work from them, getting some big bodies up front. Mm-hmm. Got our boy Jake Slaughter, who we had hoped may find his way to the Lions, but of course, once Cade Mays came to town, that changed a little bit of the direction in the draft.
Sure did.
Yeah, I mean the G-men, the Giants, I thought did well. I thought the Browns, Andrew, you may not like me bringing that up, but the Browns, I thought had maybe the best draft that the Browns have ever had.
Yep. And the
That's
worst
not saying
logos.
much, but
Yep.
the Bears always do a decent job.
What did you guys think of Ruben Bain on day one?
I thought at one point in my mind, I had convinced myself, oh my God, the Lions don't think there's a plug and play tackle, and they're going to trade up and get Bain or Downs.
I thought he was going to punch somebody.
Oh, you mean on his walkout?
Yeah.
See, I don't remember. Enlighten me.
Man, it was crazy. I don't know if he like skipped the mirror, just grabbed the hat, snatched it, and kept going.
I did. That was fine. I like that he skipped the mirror. I thought that was pretty funny. To me, there's nothing better than the emotion. You give me tears on draft day. We talked about this a little bit. You give me tears on draft day. It's a lock for me. I love that. There's nothing cooler than that. Just the raw emotion. I think that's way better than just trying to act so cool. I'm just so cool. I knew this was like, I hate that.
That's what I thought Bain was doing, but I think it was the D tackle from OSU. It was supposed to go day one when day two was getting the crowd. That was awesome.
The best, dude. And we say that, I feel like we talk about this every year. Goodell, for all of his faults, which I'm not the biggest Goodell hater. I think whatever. I think he does a fine job. He's growing the game. I want a hug from Roger Goodell. I want one. Okay? I said it. And that hug between, I can't remember his name, but that D tackle hug with Goodell, that's how he gets buy-in from the players like that. Because you could tell, like, that was like a 10-second hug, and you could tell it was like now go prove everyone wrong type of thing. That moment was awesome.
I agree. It was one of those where as you're watching it, you're like, I don't know if they're ever gonna stop hugging here.
It looked
at this
amazing.
point. And it was you tucked, bro. I'm tucked in there. I don't know if you guys have seen that Key and Peele skit. You tucked? I'm tucked.
If we're talking about walkouts, did you guys see what the Ty Simpson L.A.? Have you ever seen that? I've never seen that.
I think people do that.
You
I
have?
thought people did that.
The L, and then you flip to the A. Shout out to the YouTube.
I thought that was a Dodgers thing, though.
Oh, perhaps. Not a baseball guy myself, so. Am I doing it wrong?
Honestly, when he did that, though, I was like, oh, he's doing losers, and then he flipped it down for, okay, L.A., I get it, but I would never.
No.
Also, I'm not, my fingers. That looks stupid.
I think mine
you guys
probably.
want to talk about the Pistons now?
No.
I prefer not to. I've got two teams that were bad in the draft. 49ers had some question marks there, and the Vikings. I don't know what the Vikings were doing with some of their picks, and I mean, it makes me feel better about the state of the North with the Vikings not having a great draft, but those were two. But I think there were a lot of teams that did well, like sticking picks and drafting needs first. So, yeah, the Pistons. Andrew, I know you were watching yesterday. That was, I felt good about the big comeback in game 2 and the way they, kind of wrote the ship there in game 2 and closed that out. And then I needed to see that continue into game 3 and just prove that you are in control of the series. And boy, did we lose that.
Yeah, the issue is that they relied on a massive third quarter in game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Did not come out with any fire in the third quarter in game 3, so it didn't really help them. But they just love digging themselves a hole early.
They do.
Start out bad early, and then you've got to collapse on everything. And Orlando's been making the shots. It's tough.
And Orlando's been playing them really tough. They have. Have you seen the talks about Jalen Duren? How he disappears in the first round of the playoffs. Similarly, last year had some issues against the Knicks in that series. But
I
also
see the boys online, yeah.
Also, the comparison of him to Dwight Howard.
No.
And
I didn't see.
when I first heard this earlier this year, I was like, no, I mean he's not. And now I'm starting to wonder.
Yeah, that's tough. You know what cures that though? A win.
Everybody forgets. Yeah, I mean Dan says never apologize for a win, and that's the best way to change things, right?
Absolutely.
Learn how to not lose and learn how to win. And the Pistons are a young team, and certainly in an Eastern Conference that is not so strong as the West. In the West, they would have not been the one seed by any means. But well, I mean, this isn't a basketball podcast, but what do you think? Down 2-1 here, game 4 tomorrow, I believe, on Monday. Do you think they're leaving Orlando 2-2, or are they down 3-1?
Oh, they're gonna even this up. They're gonna even this up.
I'm right
Pistons
there with
in 6.
Pistons in 6. I had said Pistons in 5 previously, and I truly believed that. I thought they would take control in game 2.
Tell people that.
So yeah, Pistons in 6. But hopefully it iron sharpens iron, and it makes them stronger, and they find themselves advancing here past the Magic, and they'll be better for it. So, all right, boys, closing time. Anything else? Pistons, Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Griffins, anything? 2 head shakes. Well, what do you guys think about coming back and doing a mini-sode similar to what we did with Petsing and similar to what we did for the B side of free agency moves, where we maybe do something fun for the schedule release in May?
Now we do the social media style. We interview random people.
Something.
What's this team's name?
We'll workshop this, or maybe I guess there's 3 of us. There's 17 games. Maybe we all take like 5 or 6 games and do something with them. Not predict the schedule because it's too soon to do that, or predict the record per se. But maybe do a little breakdown, something short, under 20 minutes total, 10, 15 minutes. Get something to the shareholders in May. That will be mid-May at some point. We don't have a date of the schedule release, but it'll be mid-May, and then from there, hiatus time, boys, and we return late July, early August for training camp and the preseason.
And it's on.
Draft is over. The little fun, one of the best times of the year for the NFL, I think. April. It's always fun to have the draft. Always fun in Detroit. There, got 7 new in the draft and a bunch others in the undrafted free agents. Shareholders, thanks for being here. If you haven't already, become a shareholder today. Watch us on YouTube, like, follow, comment, rate. All of those things really help us. So until next time, we'll see you in May for schedule release. Let's go Pistons. Let's go Lions.
Meow.